Welcome to MissouriNet.com, a busy high school week as the school year winds down. State championships are wrapping up, and another busy week for Jason West and the folks at MSHSAA. Let's start, first of all, with the track and field from this weekend at Jefferson City. Classes 4 and 5. We talked last week, over 2,100 student athletes competing, and some records and great moments there.
We did. The Mother Nature didn't help us too much. So it was pretty wet conditions, but we were able to muscle through it and fight through any, if there were any delays. Maybe a few of the field events were paused for a couple of minutes, but we were able to get through it. This was the first year for 3 classes on the weekend, 3, 4, and 5. And so that's why we had the big number of athletes. Had some great attendance as well. The attendance figures that we had for the weekend were up by a couple of hundred at least. So really positive with that, especially with the weather. But some of the great moments, Christopher Nielsen from Park Hill was probably the biggest moment on Friday, especially on the boys' side. He was a senior, well, actually he's only a junior pole vaulter. He vaulted 17 feet on Friday evening, and it was one of the special moments. It was one of the last events of the day, so everybody was concentrated on that and watching him make that. He actually won the event by almost 2 feet over the second place finisher, but it was very exciting to watch him. One of the other special moments, a senior from Eureka, Hannah Long, who's been a distance runner for the last 4 years and done extremely well at the championships and has a lot of gold medals around her neck for her 4-year career. She finished it by setting a record in I believe it was the 1,600 meter run with a run of just over 4 minutes 40 seconds. And that was an all-class record as well, and winning the Class 5 title there. So definitely was full of some special moments for a lot of people.
And, one of the things that I kind of get from track and field is, when you look at performances like that, I think a lot of those athletes respect what their peers are doing, what their competitors are doing. But, track and field, it's not so much about necessarily winning the whole thing, but just bettering what you've done. And a lot of times there's personal bests that might not be worthy of the state title, but the fact that a lot of kids can walk away knowing that, hey, this was the best that I was able to do this year, and walk away from that just says a lot about that competition and what it means to accomplish a feat like that.
It really does, and especially when Hannah crossed the line there in that last race, and to see the ovation that everyone in the crowd gave her, from people there watching the sprints to people watching the shot put, that can barely run 100 feet, let alone 1,600 meters in just over 4 minutes. It made everyone feel good to see the ovation that the crowd gave her when she crossed the finish line.
And, as far as the pole vault of 17 feet, I mean, I remember, like world records when I was younger, and people were, it was 18 feet. They cleared 18 feet or just got over 19. And now you've got high school kids that are doing 17 feet. That has to be one of the events that maybe sports, that may be one of the toughest things to do.
It really does. And that's why some people say that pole vaulters are the rock stars of the track meet, because just being able to, sprint down a runway and then hurl yourself through the air by a plastic pole, there's something just not right about those people to begin with. But to be able to do that and still jump over a bar, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. It's yeah. I mean, and then as you're going up, you're looking down at the ground. Forget that. It's
hoping that the pad is still there when you get there.
Yeah, 17 feet in the air. That's crazy. So, I mean, yeah, what kid decides, I'd like to try that sometime? You got to be a daredevil.
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, well, now let's shift. Well, actually, we also have tennis results, too. There were some big championships over the weekend as Rockhurst was able to win. They knocked out Rockbridge I think 5 of the last 9 championships. Rockhurst has won. They've got kind of the dynasty in tennis, and between Rockhurst and Rockbridge, I think they've won the last 9 titles in Class 2, and then I think MICDS got the three-peat in Class 1. So a big weekend in tennis.
Yeah, it really was, and the Rockhurst Rockbridge final was one that was a lot of fun to watch. Just 2 really good squads. 5-3 was the final, so you know that each one of those matches was contested. Doubles points, 8-5, 9-8 with a 7-6 tiebreaker. Those are just every point means something in those type matches, and so to have a championship to come down to that's what you like to see in those events.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, now let's shift because starting today, we've got the baseball finals in O'Fallon, and it looks like the weather's going to cooperate, so that will certainly help out and be a change of pace for what we've seen here in state championships.
Even with baseball over the last couple of weeks through the district play and sectionals and quarterfinals, having some dry weather for the championships is great. So we'll get started with those this afternoon, starting with Scott City and Warsaw at 4:30, and then Lutheran St. Charles will play Fatima this evening at 7. And so you can see the schedule there with Class 3 today and the trophy games being tomorrow morning. And then Class 1, Class 2, and then 4 and 5 will finish up the week.
Jason, I'm pretty excited about Class 2 New Bloomfield. I coached some of those kids that started out in T-ball. Now, I'm not taking any credit for what they've done because they went on to travel teams and had a lot of success, but I'm certainly keeping an eye on those kids because I had them when they started T-ball. So it's kind of neat to see those kids progress. And now
you lit the fire.
There you go. Yeah, maybe I'll take an assist for that. So they win. I'll be asking to get on the float in the parade in town. So
very cool.
So good luck actually to all those teams. And then this weekend, then we've got the soccer championships in Blue Springs for the girls.
Yep, we'll have the 4 classes starting on Friday, and with the championships and third place games on Saturday at Blue Springs High School and Blue Springs South. I believe classes 1 and 2 will be at Blue Springs, and then 3 and 4 will be at Blue Springs South again for this year. This will be our last year at Blue Springs before making the trip to the soccer park in St. Louis and possibly Swope Park in Kansas City for the girls.
Any big festivities planned, or is this just it's just part of the deal where you finish something up, you finish up an agreement and move on? And
yeah, I think that's we've kind of reached the end of an era there, and the folks at Blue Springs, Mark Bubalo is the district AD there and helps coordinate everything. They've just done a phenomenal job, and the support that they've shown just for this championship really helps understand the support that those 2 schools have from their booster clubs and their volunteers, because the soccer championships, both the boys in the fall and the girls in the spring, have been one of the best events that we've had, and a lot of that is owed to the volunteers from the Blue Springs area and the help that they give us to run those.
Well, MSHSAA.org and MissouriNet.com will give you the results for the baseball championships and soccer championships this weekend. Jason, thanks for your time, and we'll catch up next week and recap some of these important championship matches that will be taking place over the next week.
Sounds great.
All right, and thanks for watching us here at MissouriNet.com.